Twirly. And we're live. Welcome back to another episode of these crazy people that just keep talking about meat and eating it and can't stop. We got Justin All Out Life Carnivore, and of course, Thomas A. Clark. And we want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, leave us lots of comments. The more comments, the better. Just say hey, talk to the other peeps. Let us know what you want to talk about. Let Justin know how he's wrong about everything. That's fine too.
Yeah, why not? It's fine. I can take it. Do you want to say Happy Chinese New Year to our Asian followers? So you get.
Yeah, it's been a little rough around here with the Lunar New Year.
Hi, Mike Kamaj. Good evening.
Good evening. So, what's today's topic, Justarino?
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Meat Mosaic, where it's me, Justin, and over there is Tom. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, throw a ribeye steak. Although last night I had a sirloin steak, which was delish. Um, I had that, and throw a sirloin steak on the notification bell. Kept forgetting them. Don't forget to write in the comments what you thought of the show, what you don't like, what you want more of. Happy Chinese New Year if you're celebrating, um,
It's the
as
Lunar
well
New
as
Year, right?
Lunar New Year, also known as AKA. Yeah. Um, and yeah, any other comments? What else you'd like us to cover? As well as what you'd like us to shut up about. Why not? Yeah. Or your favorite steak. What was your meat? What have you been eating over the last week since the last time we saw you? Always interesting. Have you gone off? Are you struggling with carnivore? Do you need some assistance? Do you need a coach? Or are you like Mr. Saladino, who wrote a scathing um, idea or scathing email why he's against the keto diet now? So that's quite a quite a 180 for Mr. Saladino there. Today's supposed topic, though, is antibiotics in food. Should we worry about them? How big of a concern are they? So that's kind of the main topics. My Kamaj sirloin has lower fat but higher cholesterol. I wasn't quite aware of that little cholesterol factoid. I don't know. I bounce around. Even right now, getting the full fat choice, New York's feel too fatty for me at the moment. And last night, just on a whim, because it was on sale at a local grocery store, they had a nice big pound and a half sirloin steak for like $7.99 a pound, which isn't an amazing price, but it's all right. So I decided to grab that and cooked it up last night, and it really hit the spot. Like it was fantastic.
Yeah, look good. You sent out a pic on our little message group. Not the Meat Mosaic one, but the Meat Mosaic. Oh, what the hell?
All stars. Just kidding.
Yeah,
It's
it did
also on
look
my Instagram page. Yeah,
the sort of
there's
secret, not secret, just nobody else can see it group.
right.
So any reason in particular why this subject came up? Were you seeing people post about it?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact post or video or something, but there's some, there's always something to complain about, I suppose. And I think I was listening to or reading somewhere someone was really wigging out over antibiotics and meat and all that, and the whole you're going to mess with yours, or you're going to end with mess with your microbiome because you're having the antibiotics through the meat into your body. And so yeah, as me and Tom are a bit of contrarians, or maybe it's not so much that as for a lot of the things, I kind of put it in the same category as the omega 3, omega 6 ratios, the PUFAs and things like that from animals not being fed what they're supposed to eat and all that kind of stuff, which I think me and Tom totally agree. It's not awesome. It's not ideal. But similarly, I just don't see evidence to it being particularly harmful to people on average. Again, I will always put a little star and say, yes, there are people that seem to react to conventional meat, but we don't know exactly what they're reacting to in that meat. It's all hearsay and guess. And for whatever reason, there are some people that do better on grass fed, grass finished for whatever reason. So, and antibiotics to me is kind of like the same vein anyway. If you have a different take, Tom, or anyone else in the chat, of course, I'm open to having my change my mind. My mind changed about it.
Wouldn't even try. No, I mean, I was reading, doing a little bit of homework on the subject, and they used to give antibiotics to. Real quick, let me say hello to Christina and
Jonathan,
composition consultant. I don't think I'm
awesome.
doxing him if I say hi, Jonathan, because pretty sure his name's not a secret. But anyways, they used to give antibiotics to livestock to make them bigger, you know, faster. But they stopped doing that a long time ago. I don't remember what year it was, but the pharmaceutical companies that sold those type of antibiotics voluntarily withdrew them. So almost all of the use of antibiotics is for treating infections or preventing infections, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's weird is when you start trying to look this stuff up, all you see is a comparison of how much antibiotic is produced for livestock versus human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of one of those things. I feel like part of it's publication bias. Like people are trying to print stuff and use headlines to get people to read. It's like Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire taking a bunch of steroids. And then baseball was huge. You put booties in the seats. People want to see these guys, these giant muscled out guys smacking baseballs out of the stadium. And I think a lot of the stuff that gets published and republished and pushed around is just more sensationalism than it is fact. And I think it kind of warps people's perception of how much antibiotic and animals are given that we eat. And then the other thing is, hi Margie, um, the cows are a lot bigger than people, right?
Right.
I'm not sure what the Justin to cow ratio is, but it's many Justins to one cow. So, you're going to
At
need
least 3.5, I think.
at least, yeah, I would say it's safely 3.5 plus. So, I mean, let's just say, and we'll just spitball it. They're probably not all 1,000 pounds, but say 1,000 pound steer versus 100 and what are you bucking in at now? About
One
140.
146, buck 46.
So we'll just pencil that out. So we'll even bring it out. Let's say 900 pound cattle.
We have the grade on the scale. Okay, I see it. All right.
So that's over 6 times as big as you. So an animal that's 6 times bigger than you is probably going to need a bigger dose of antibiotics, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and then there's other thing, like dairy cows, they sometimes get mastitis, right?
Mm,
Which is an infection of the udder,
mm,
and it's treated with antibiotics. But it's generally treated by, they sanitize the nipples,
mm,
teats, and stuff like that externally. But sometimes they get infections. They got to be treated. I know there's lots of farmers and cattle ranchers that make videos about how they take care of their animals.
mm,
And I've seen a number of farmers say, look, sometimes deliver a calf, and the mother has a problem, after delivering, And he's like, you know, if I don't treat with antibiotics, he's going to get an infection and so on and so forth. So those things happen. And anybody who knows what the weather is like outside, you know, I mean, you got your cow in Iowa and a twister comes buzzing through. Cow gets a little beat up. I know I was talking to one guy who was saying that one time he had a cow impaled by a fence post,
Ooh.
but it didn't puncture the fascia that surrounded the organs.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew the cow would be all right if it didn't get too bad of an infection in the hide and the skin. So, you know, they're tough animals, and you know, there's barbed wire and all kinds of stuff. So, oh, so Michael Mosh says he had I'm total total left
Mm.
turn here, but good news from Michael Mosh. He says he had an MRI and his MS lesions are getting smaller.
Wow.
Starting to disappear. Outstanding. It's great news.
It is amazing.
I would, you know, Michael Moss, do you know Emily Penton? It's so weird.
Yeah, of course he does. Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw a post from I probably should say her name because but anyways, someone else that I talked to on Facebook, and she apparently had recovered from MS as well. And I was like, "Oh, do you know Emily Penton?" And of course, she's like, "Who the hell is that?" You know. So I was like, "Oh, I got to put him in touch." So, anyways, yeah. So you guys need like your own MS tribe.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. It's like Justin and I kind of dabbled to the idea of forming our little Autism Tribe. So.
But there's no brain scan. Nothing gets smaller on that we can scan on TISM. Aside for your social awkwardness, you did some kind of like social awkward scoring or something like that.
So yeah, so I guess so far, I guess the Tism tribe could be Jonathan, Justin, Joe, me, and Bart.
Hey, I'm in good company. There you go. There's no women. Come on
Well,
now.
we could get Jules to join, I'm sure. And if we trolled around, and maybe we'll get Karina to join. But I'm sure there's plenty of people in Autistic Carnivores that would join. But anyways, as far as the social media personalities, that would be the bulk of it. So I guess Jules is moving back to Hawaii next month.
Yeah, congrats on that to her. If she hops on or sees this later, be great. I don't know what time will be for her. I think it would probably be like noon. What are they, 5 hours ahead or 5 hours behind? I forget. And the next day. No, they're 5 hours ahead. Yeah.
5 hours ahead. I have to look at a map.
Mm.
I was thinking they're. Oh yeah. They're 5 hours ahead of us. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be late, 10,
Middle of the night.
11 o'clock at night, depending on when Justin shows up.
Hey, I was 2 minutes early today, so.
No, we started at 5, dude. I don't know why you think you're early.
No, we start at 5:15.
No, we don't. We start at 5.
You switched it again?
No, you told me last week.
week.
You told me last week. Yeah, okay. I'll be there at 5. I promise. But we gotta do it at 5. I was
That
like,
was
oh,
for
okay.
last week. The regular time, you moved it to 5:15
Because
like
you
6
were always
months
late.
ago.
And then you were just still late. So I was like, what's the point? What's the point in giving him more time if he's just going to be later?
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, it's 5, man.
All right, fine. If it's 5, it's 5. I thought that's why I thought it was early, because it was 5:15. And I was here at like 5:13.
Do I blame all the millennials or just Justin? That's my question.
Hey, I can't find a comfortable watch band for my Fitbit, so I don't know what time it is anymore.
Well, does it help that I text you?
No, because my phone's on silent all the time.
All
And
right.
notifications are off
Well, I'll talk to
because
your
of the
girl.
TISM.
I'll tell
Yeah,
your
you need
girl.
to.
I'll talk to your girlfriend about setting her alarm to remind you.
Yeah, you need to. I need to give you Sarah's number. If you text Sarah, Sarah will tell me to start getting ready and everything.
I'm gonna
Yes.
send her a stick to poke you with.
Yeah.
Hey, showtime, showtime. All right. So what else? Well, you got any other comments about antibiotics in livestock?
Well, again, I think when people have these big concerns about it, I think typically they focus in on pigs and chickens because they're monogastric and smaller than cows. Although
Mhm.
there are some big ass hogs out there. So
Mhm.
there is that. Um, Carnivores don't eat a lot of chicken typically. I consider chicken either a snack or a side, at least in the way in my eatings.
Mhm.
Um, Pork, I have to be in the mood for, although I know there's some people that really chat on the pork in the carnivore diet, and more power to you. Um, and so it's just really interesting people, trying to overcomplicate the diet, I guess, or saying that something you should be really concerned about, but how concerned about it should you be really? Not to mention the other part, all these animals have filtering mechanisms in themselves. They all have livers and kidneys and etc. And so, I mean, okay, do you really want to be eating a whole lot of liver? That would be my concern if you were a person that was concerned about antibiotics. Would you want to be eating a whole bunch of organs from these conventionally raised animals? I don't know.
Well, let's
Probably.
talk about the timing too, because it's not like the antibiotics are present forever.
Right.
And if they do happen to be processed out by the liver, I mean, there's different ones. Who knows exactly? It probably
Right.
depends on the antibiotic, right? Whether it's something the liver breaks down or what. But it doesn't stay in the liver either. So
Right.
those things get cleared. I mean, um, the question is, when you eat the meat, how much antibiotic is present,
Mm.
and then how much of it you absorb, right? I mean,
Right.
it could be destroyed in your stomach, or it could go pass through you, or could just be something that's not absorbed, right?
Right.
Because it's not going to be in its same state as when it was administered to the animal, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's the question. And I believe there's been quite a bit of testing. I should have looked that up to see what the level of antibiotics was in the meat that we actually buy and eat is. And of course, we can't forget, regenerative agriculture,
Mm.
or what's the other name they have for it?
Mm.
I forget. There's a whole bunch of names, but I mean, more and more people are going back.
Carbon sequestrian.
Sequestrian.
Sequestrian. I don't know.
Oh, Marge is saying we should start at 4:45.
Yeah, there you go. Then I'll be on time.
All right.
Come on, man. You never had. Never mind. I'm trying really hard to not be racist on this anymore. So I'll keep my mouth
Yeah,
shut.
please don't. We talk about eating meat. Don't talk about race.
But
I mean,
I'm
I mean,
ethnically
if you want to.
androgynous.
All
I can't
right.
get blamed. It's
All
fine.
right. Right.
All I'm gonna say is you never got invited to a fried chicken party before, and what time did you show up? That's all. No? Okay. Just move on. Should we just move on?
Yeah, let's move on. So, anyways,
Mike Kamaj did have a comment that I didn't know about. He said there's a certain, I guess, some kind of legislation, I'm guessing, that there's a certain amount of time must pass between the administration of a antibiotic to the time of butchering. So there you go.
yeah, the same thing. When a cow has mastitis, like a dairy cow, then that milk can't be used, and that cow has to be treated for a certain amount of time and obviously recover before you can use its milk. So there are rules in place, and stuff is tested. I've worked on a dairy. They test the milk for all kinds of things, bacteria levels, hormone levels, and antibiotics, and infections and stuff like that. All that stuff gets tested for. So it's not like they're just, you go to the supermarket and you're just buying stuff that's loaded with antibiotics and stuff like that. So now we could compare it to pesticides, right?
Right.
And the whole pesticide argument. Then you find out that most of the pesticides we consume naturally created by plants. So the amount of pesticide that's actually sprayed on the plants is insignificant compared to how much the plants naturally produce. And of course, grass makes its own pesticide. Cow comes along and eats it, breaks down the pesticide. We're not eating a bunch of grass pesticide by the time we eat the cow.
At least that we know of.
Well,
It doesn't seem that we are.
Is according to the testing, right?
Right. Yeah.
So cows are grass eating machines. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Just like koalas, they're eucalyptus eating machines, right?
So I've been told. So I've seen on the Discovery Channel. So Joe has told us.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we could look into it more, but a lot of the content out there regarding these questions are generated by various groups that seem to just be propaganda fronts. It wasn't until I got into the literature from the universities that I was actually getting answers to my questions rather than being diverted to new questions, or questions of animal to human ratio or whatever it is. So, but I mean, we still, when a baby comes out of the womb, they often treat to make sure the child doesn't get certain diseases or whatever. I'm not sure, but I think don't they wash the baby's eyes with antivirals?
Oh, I don't know. Like a human baby?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's something I need to brush up on though. But
yeah.
Yes, thank you, Margie.
Well, I don't know if it's Cuban time, but it's definitely a different time.
Hey, I'm in old Mo. We kind of mosey to we're not never in much of a hurry.
Yeah, well, you made one excuse after another about how your legs just don't move fast every time we were walking somewhere.
They don't move.
They physically don't go any faster.
I have a slow walk or a run. Those are my two speeds.
Well, if you had just kept running, you could have run ahead, and then we would have caught up, and then we would have all gotten there at the same time.
You've seen my direction ability. I'm typically also going the wrong way, so like I also cannot be in front. I have to be in the back, but I move slowly in the back. So there you go.
Yeah, it was a lot of work keeping track of you and Marissa. It was like she was beeline around through downtown LA. I was like, "Where are you going, girl, by yourself, downtown LA?" And I turn around and there's Justin. Justin can't make up his mind whether he wants to cross the street or not. It's like, come on, let's go.
That was your personal hell. Yeah.
I think next time I'm gonna take one of those pieces of yarn and make you guys hold on to it. So, anyways, what else we got?
Well, we got carnivore space drama if we want to get into that. Or like I said, I did email you Saladino's email, which I find a fun.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read it.
Through.
It was harder to find good information on antibiotics. But you know what? And I'll put the link in the show notes for the stuff I was reading. So, but yeah, it took me longer to get my question answered. You're so used to just like typing a question, getting a direct answer. It was like I kept getting all this other other sort of arbitrage thrown at me. I had to pick through a lot, so I didn't read the email. But if you want us to cover it, go for it, and I'll look for it.
Sure, yeah. Let me take a second to pull it up. Do, do, do. I'm getting way too many Heart and Soil emails. Oh, this is from Salad Dinosaur himself. All right, there we go.
Mr. Solid Dinosaur. I
Praise
can't
the
even
Lord.
remember which video it was. He called himself Dr. Salad Dinosaur.
Oh, it was a long time ago.
It was. It was a
I think
very.
because there was like a meme somewhere. I am sharing. Yes, can see. Tom, you can see my pay screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to pop up. Hold on.
Okay.
Where did it go? Yeah, I noticed when I opened StreamYard today, it had changed a little bit.
Yeah, Zoom also updated, and I was really confused. I was like, "What have they done now?"
Huh. Do. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't. That's not where it used to be. Hmm.
I can just start reading though. This is, I
It
mean,
came up now. I think there was
okay.
just lag. I was clicking on it and it just took it. You can see it, right?
Well, I can see it because I'm on my screen, but uh-oh.
Yeah. What the hell is that? What
Okay,
is?
that's my screen.
What are you doing? You just ruined. I had it. You had it shared, and now.
Well, because you said you see it. There it is, right?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. So as you can see, that's Mr. Salad Dinosaur there. So I'm
Oh,
not
is
making
it?
this up. Yeah, there you go. Uh, and this is good morning. Why I'm not a fan of ketogenic diets. For about 1.5 years, I ate a strict carnivore diet of meat, organs, animal fat, and salt. This put me in ketosis because I was eating essentially zero carbs, and I ended up with some pretty bad muscle cramps, palpitations, sleep, and hormone issues. Do we just want to comment at the end, or are we going to comment line by line?
Well, you read it already, Sue, and she give us the gist of it.
So basically, he said he talks about keto being in ketosis for a long period of time, causing damage, increased cortisol, um, electrolyte issues, dropping your T3, uh, sleep issues, and how when he added fruit and honey back in his diet, everything got better. He still sees plants as bad though. And he cites some studies. So uh, he says this one a short term ketogenic diet impairs markers of bone health in response to exercise. And he just has this one quote from it. Markers of bone modeling, remodeling were impaired after short term low carb, high fat diet, and only a marker of resorption recovered after acute CHO restoration. I'm not quite familiar what CHO restoration is. Maybe Tom, you can help that out. He has a link to the study there, um, of course, and a few problems right off the bat. Short term, what do they mean by low carb, high fat? Um, Markers of bone health, what does that even mean? So it just sounds really sketch. Like being ketogenic will make you give you osteoporosis. What are we getting at here?
Well, if you don't eat enough protein, sure.
Right. So maybe it truly was high fat. um, And then the low T3 things, which we've gone over before. Um,
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, and we notice that trend is that the people that seem to have low T3 somehow seem to be tied to not quite enough protein. Right.
right.
Hair falling out, not enough protein. Low T3, no, no, no. So yeah, I don't know. It was mostly, I think, CHO oxidation. Hmm,
Um,
I have to look into that.
and then something about modification of immune response to exercise by carbohydrate, glutamine, and antioxidant supplements. And athlete exercising in a carbohydrate depleted state experiences larger increases in circulating stress hormones and a greater perturbation of several immune function induces. Yeah. So again, were these people that just quit carbohydrates for that day, that month? We do know that there's a time for all the systems to kick in and readjust.
Yeah, and what about his habit of eating a lot of organ meats and pushing nose to tail and organ meat supplements? It's like most people don't eat that much organ meat.
Right. This last one, he cites influence of dietary carbohydrate intake on the free testosterone cortisol ratio response to short term intensive exercise training. So, more short term stuff.
Yeah, and isn't he's Mr. I surf 3 hours a day. I mean,
Right.
so this is probably compare, let's see, for me. Oh yeah, it says right there 2-3 hours every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if short-term exercise studies were comparative to his activity level. I mean, if
Right.
something goes wrong and people will look for any study that agrees with them and ignore all the other ones.
Right.
And the thing is the things he suffered from are rare among other carnivores. So the first
Right.
thing I want to do is look at like how most people do it who don't have these problems do it, and that's primarily, well, we're mixing both his keto days with his organ meat days, but
Well, I
yeah,
think so is he, right? I mean, he mixed it all together at the top, right? He said his keto day. He didn't have any keto days, really. He
wasn't
was
he keto
more
before
plant.
carnivore?
No, he was plant-based before carnivore.
I thought it was plant-based, then keto, then carnivore, but
I think it was
I
just
could be wrong. I
straight
could be
based.
mixing him up with somebody else.
Mm. But anyway, so yeah, he says, I believe humans do way better with carbohydrates. Well, that's great. You can believe what you want. But,
Well, I'd like to hear him explain how humans evolved with those carbohydrates that were next to non-existent. I mean, where
right.
was there just giant honeybee hives all over the place, or what?
Apparently, yeah. But yeah, in the email was very, very kind of low effort. It's kind of everything we've heard before, and again, uh, just screams the problem being low protein.
Yeah, and like we mentioned before, I found those studies on fructose and it preventing the repair of collagen, right?
Right.
And then the other thing about not eating enough protein, if you don't eat enough protein, well, in his case, he's eating carbohydrates, but if you're eating a high fat, say carnivore diet, and you're not getting enough protein, then you may not be producing enough insulin to get proper kidney function. So insulin's not bad. You just don't want it spiked all the time. Just like, you're supposed to have blood glucose, and I still don't think we know what levels are optimal for which people at what time. And this is this seems like another witch hunt. And how many glucose tests did you do back in the day when you were curious about that?
I mean, daily, sometimes 5, 6 daily. So, I mean,
Yeah,
like 100 sticks probably in a year period or so, probably more. Yeah,
yeah,
certainly.
probably a lot more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know both of us. We did a lot of that, and a lot of like watching blood sugar go up and down. I mean, never really went very high, but everybody freaks out when you get to 100. It's like,
Right.
well, it was 103 one time. What do you want me to say? Oh my God, it was 103.
It was 99 after I fasted for 18 hours. How dare it?
Right. So, and I think part of that, and I think it tends to be more that way, especially towards the beginning, because your body's just, when you've just come off of eating carbohydrates for decades, your body's probably used to higher blood glucose, right? So it's like, oh, you're not eating it. Let's keep these levels up, and then it tends to go down. But after intensive exercise, it tends to go back up. Just
Mm.
you wake up in the morning, it tends to go up. Just it's part of the process. So, and of course, testing blood sugar is easy. We can test blood sugar 5 times a day and watch it go up and down. And then all the other lab values are like, yeah, I got it done once every 6 months, once every year, and you get that tiny little snapshot of whatever it was at that moment. It's a lot of that's doesn't have a lot of utility for figuring out if we're on the right diet. It's mostly about how we feel and whether we're getting healthier or getting sicker, right?
Yeah, definitely. You having more aches and pains as time goes by, or a little less, or how you getting stuff done, or you feeling dragged out. I mean, everyone has a bad day from time to time, or don't get enough sleep, but it doesn't mean it's the ketogenic spine. And I I do say that there was a time, that one summer a couple of years ago back in California, where my calves and my feet were completely wigging out on me with really bad cramps,
Mm.
gnarly freaking cramps. And but I didn't really have that problem this past summer, and I haven't really had it in a while. I think it was a mix of, I think it was for me, overhydration, honestly. Now that
Wow,
I
overhydration.
overhydration, yeah, I think was my issue
That
back
doesn't come
then.
up very often.
Yeah, now thinking about it, I mean, who knows really, but I think mine was overhydration. I think I was eating fine and everything like that, but
Are you
yeah,
just drinking a lot of water or what?
yeah, I was drinking a lot of water. Well, it was like it was hot, and I was doing the protocol and yada yada
Yeah.
yada. And so, and I was going out a lot, and it's out in California, but even here, wearing sandals all the time, so your feet aren't really insulated, so you're just constantly sweating out the bottoms of them as well,
That's
right?
not what happens.
Someone
That's-
told me that. I don't know.
Are you a cheetah? You go out for a
Yeah,
run and then you gotta get rid of all that heat through your paws.
yeah, no sweat glands.
That's too funny.
um, So, but I incorporated some spray on magnesium and some magnesium orally, and cut down on the water, and it totally seems to have resolved. We'll see this summer what happens. Um, but yeah, really not getting the cramps and things like that as well. So I had one of the really bad symptoms that Paul Saladino have, but my thought wasn't, let me go eat some fruit, because when I tried to eat fruit, I ended up in a lot of pain.
So you're talking about a different symptom?
No, the leg cramps.
Just the leg cramps. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I occasionally get leg cramps or even cramps in my hands or whatever. But and I was kind of, we were talking about that recently. If I have a little salt water, then that goes away. And my water consumption goes up and down like crazy. You know, I don't have a goal. I just drink when I'm thirsty or I'm hot. You know, and I think part of that, it just seems natural to drink water when you're hot. Even maybe not not necessarily just a thirst, but you're hot and some cold water sounds good, you know?
Right.
And then I think you lose some electrolytes just urinating them out. And you lose some to sweat, which, you know, to a large degree is regulated. But having worked on a rooftop in summer in Palm Springs, welding, it's hot. You just drink you wouldn't believe how much water we drank. Like we couldn't even keep track of it. We were just buying gallon jugs of water and just because it was so freaking hot. And I remember one time my boss was hanging upside down welding in a plenum, you know, like a big metal tube that goes through the roof.
Mhm.
And all I heard him go, and I was like, "What's wrong?" It's like, I'm cramping up, I can't move. And his like whole torso and arms were all cramped
Oh
up, you
shit.
know.
Uh,
It's like, and it was just the intense heat, you know.
mm,
So I don't know if that was just he just lost too much water, or you know, maybe he lost too much, you know, sodium or magnesium, potassium, whatever. So should we talk about the we did you watch the video Bart did on Stephanie Persons?
no, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. No,
Yeah.
but you go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, she was pushing the idea, you know, avocados get enough potassium. You know, she's really pushing the potassium angle. I'm always kind of pushing the salt angle, the sodium chloride angle, because it seems to be the most effective way to get rid of muscle cramps. But then, you know, a lot of people are fixated on magnesium. As soon as I got into the low carb keto sphere, it was magnesium, 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 you know. And then a few people will touch on potassium. Of course, the problem with potassium is you take a bunch of potassium supplements, you could screw up your heart, right?
Mhm.
So everybody kind of steers away from that. And then, of course, you know, talk to a lot of professionals who look a lot of blood work, and they tend to see magnesium deficiencies. So, anyways, who really knows? And you know, it's very different for people like us that have lived in really warm climates. I mean, being on a rooftop in summer in Palm Springs, I don't know. I assume most people have heard of Palm Springs, but it's a town out in the desert, you know. It's very hot. And then if you've ever been on a rooftop in the summertime, it's extra hot. And if you've ever welded, that's extra, extra hot, especially in a in a tight space, you know. So that's a super extreme um sort of scenario, but that's like when I really became aware of like, oh, that's where muscle cramps come from.
Mm.
You know, it's like just literally sweating buckets. Like it was so hot and we were sweating so much, my clothes were so wet that when I was underneath the roof working in some hot tar from above seeped through and hit my shirt. I
Oof.
didn't know what it was because my shirt was so wet. I was like, holy cow, it could have burned me if I wasn't soaking wet, you know? So yeah, so that was kind of like my first foray into it. And then of course, that occasionally, you know, throughout my life, I'd get leg cramps at night, you know, calf cramps
Mm.
usually. So everybody back then it was, oh, eat a banana, your potassium's low, you know, whatever. So that's what we thought, which of course bananas are full of sugar. So it's probably worse than having the cramp in the end.
Or I guess then you could reach for the avocado better than banana.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather eat the avocado than the banana. I'm not saying they're good for you, but I love them. You know, I guess we kind of grow up with both, right? Because bananas
Right.
are always on the shelf to store. You don't see
Right.
too many banana trees. Although my neighbor has a banana tree.
Mm.
It's amazing how many bananas are on that damn thing. When I would see it, it's in his backyard, but you could see it from my yard, and it would have that huge thing of freaking bananas. I was like, holy cow! So, um, anyways, uh, and most people probably don't really have any problem if they eat a banana or avocado once in a while, but knowing what we know, eating it frequently um, can be problematic, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, oxalates, right? It's always a problem.
Sure,
Um,
phytic acid, fiber.
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, the acid that's in fruits, right? Like, it's really weird to me that Saladino knows about the acids and he doesn't even address them in the fruits. He had a glass of orange juice the other day, fresh squeezed, you know.
Yeah, well, we clearly evolved drinking orange juice, so
Oh yeah,
that's
every morning.
yeah, every morning. That's all the cave people did. Fire up the Vitamix. Of course, they probably ate it with the peel, and
Right.
seeds. That's what's different. We just we strain the pulp out.
Because we're civilized. Even more civilized is Sunny D, Sunny
Right?
Delight.
The high tech blend of nectarine and orange, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good stuff when we were kids. Of course, when we were real little, we thought Tang was awesome, right? Astronauts drink this, man. I'm gonna drink the Tang.
Tang and your Ovaltine. There you go. Take you back.
Oof. That sounds a little rough. Tang and Ovaltine, but man, what a like 70s, 80s breakfast, right?
Right.
Whew. All right, next time we're together, we'll dare each other to drink a glass of Tang and Ovaltine.
Ugh.
You brought it up
I did bring it up.
right after the chicken chug.
There you go. Oh, we'll just hurl. What are you talking about? We'll be done.
This is gonna have to do this outside on tarp.
Yeah. Right.
uh, yeah. So all the fans of Ovaltine, Tang, and what else were we talking about?
Chicken chug.
Sunny Delight,
Sunny
chicken
Delight.
chug. Yeah. Anybody out there ever taken like chicken breast and put it in a blender and drank it? Because that's what Justin wants to do.
Not so much want. Bit of a strong word to say I want to do that.
That's all right. We'll put a little bacon in. It'll be fine.
Oh, there you go.
See
All
you
right,
next-
I'm in.
You're in. All
Yeah.
right. Maybe we
As
can
long as the chicken is fully cooked.
If Joe's here, we'll get him to turn it into a gelato. It'll be great.
There
Sugar-free gelato.
you go.
Chicken-based sugar-free gelato. Whoo! Oh, by the way, I finally got some eggs yesterday, so
Woohoo.
I'm gonna try and get the egg experiment back online. I got eggs and egg whites, so they're both available now.
Full pasture organic, right?
I should have asked. I went to an actual egg farm yesterday to get them. I should have asked them about the antibiotics, but of course we hadn't. I don't think we talked about the topic at that point. So
You should have them on the show with the egg farm.
yeah, I could ask. See if somebody wants to come on.
Is she surprised by how many eggs you buy? Is she like, wow, you certainly
No,
like your eggs?
just because a lot of people come there, and I think they just assume you're catering or buying for a restaurant or something like that. Because the last time I went, I actually bought a box that had 100 eggs in it. It was like, oh, I'm like, oh, I want what that lady's got. And so somebody else had just walked out with one, and I was like, and they don't put them. They have a case like where you can grab packs of eggs, but they don't have like 100 packs in there. So, I just asked if they had they didn't actually have the box, but they had like the equivalent and ones in the like cardboard. I guess there are a dozen. So I actually bought 98 instead of 100, but whatever, same price. So local fresh eggs. So
so you go through that in like 3 days.
Yeah, if I ever get this timing right here, in between the interruptions and just like having to have the time to crack all those eggs, and of course I like to blend them, which takes another 30 seconds, but just standing there cracking egg after egg after egg after egg after egg after egg, and I typically meal prep, right? So I'm not, so I try and do it on the weekend, and have it ready in jars.
You go.
And then don't always take it with me. So then, like, maybe I should just cook some of these. So a lot of them, towards the end there, like I've already cracked eggs and they've been in the fridge for a few days, and I'll usually just cook them. I don't really know if there's a big difference in cooking them or drinking them straight, but if it's anything like meat, the studies show that the raw is slightly more nutritious in some insignificant level, but I really don't know. Wasn't what I was planning to do. I was planning on just drinking them, and seemed to be more challenging than I thought. And the weird thing is, it's easier to drink them later in the day than in the morning. And I always thought, I'll just start drinking them in the morning, and then they seem to go down better later on.
Hey, Raymond.
Raymond saying egg only. What is the meal plan? Well, the attempt was just to get 30 eggs in a day, which would probably be roughly half of what I eat in a day. So, anyways, we were talking about just everything from some study, or not study, but a practice that they used to feed raw eggs to people, burn victims, to help them grow their skin back faster, to people purporting that 30 eggs a day or something like that was somewhat equivalent to a round of anabolic steroids as far as bodybuilding or weight training, so I was like, all right, well, that sounds interesting, so I've been trying to pull it off for like a month now. I don't even remember when it started, at least 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I think it's been about a month. Yeah, since you started. Yeah, it was either right before January 1st or right of the week of January 1st.
So it seemed like drinking just raw, straight raw eggs seemed like it was a little too much fat. Like it shut down my appetite like too quick. So then I was like, well, I wanted to thin it out maybe. So then I was going to get some egg whites to add a little more protein and get the fat ratio down a little bit. And there was no egg whites to be had. Then there was no eggs to be had. Then there was like, and most places are like, they have, 12 packs of eggs and they're like limit 1, limit 2. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back. Like, I'm gonna have to stop at every supermarket I drive by to get enough eggs. And half the time they didn't have any. So I was like, well, that's taking too much time. So it's been a little hit or miss working out the logistics of this. And yeah, I don't know how people just could guzzle 30 eggs in a day. So we'll see. Working it out.
You'll get it done. Yeah, it'd be really interesting. Yeah. I had 6 raw eggs before coming on here, so that was quite good.
Yeah, I don't know. 30 raw eggs, depending on the size of the egg, is roughly 6 cups.
Right.
And I noticed, like, if I drink roughly 2 cups, I try and drink roughly 2 cups for breakfast, I felt a little off, like a little too full. Like, and like the fullness would come on later. I could drink it, and one day I was actually a little queasy, and I was like, it kind of seemed like it was just too much fat, like, and then that's the thing about drinking anything, it's like you kind of bypass some of the satiety signals or whatever, so it's easier to overeat. Or you could look at it like a strategy to get something in that's tough to get in, right? And I mean,
right.
We talked about that, like people that are training hardcore, trying to get super lean, they will literally drink chicken breast because eating it is so monotonous, right?
Right.
So yeah, I still eat meat also. So like the eggs would be like half what I eat, and the rest would be like steak or ground beef or whatever. So, and shrimp, of course. Love me some shrimp. The interesting thing about the shrimp, I usually buy the little tiny ones. I call them salad shrimps because I could pack them tighter in the container, so that I take with me for lunch. So when I'm prepping, so I was like, well, I'll just get the smaller ones. They're a little bit cheaper, not significantly cheaper, but a little bit cheaper. And then they were out of them. So I bought the next size up, the medium ones. And for some reason, the medium ones taste better. They just have more flavor. Maybe it's because it's an older shrimp. Maybe it's a different type of shrimp. I don't know. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to get these medium ones from now on. And the medium ones tend to more frequently have like part of the tail left on them still or whatever. But it's just a little bit. So I just eat it anyways.
Right.
But it was like one less thing that, like, if I bought the shrimp that had a full tail on it and I wasn't eating it, I'd throw it in the container and then I'd have to clean that out when I got home. It was just one more step, right? But then I went into the store and they had the salad shrimp. I guess they're getting rid of them. They're blowing them out. So they're super cheap. So I was like, well, I just buy a shitload. So like I bought like, I don't know, 10 pounds or maybe it was more than 10. Yeah, probably like 10 pounds of the salad shrimp yesterday. So
nice.
Got a lot of shrimp.
Should throw some of that shrimp in the egg mix. Come on. Your protein.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea. It's pretty brave to mix shrimp and raw egg though.
Come on, you've got an iron stomach.
Yeah, it's probably fine. It just sounds a little scary, I guess. I don't know. There's probably no way to look that up. Is it safe to drink shrimp and raw egg? Eggs. And I mean, what are you gonna do? I guess I'd have to grind the shrimp up in the, because you can't swallow like a whole shrimp. Like glug glug glug, choke choke choke.
Wait, it'd be great to get that protein and fat and everything together. There you go.
Yeah, the shrimp would definitely lower the fat ratio.
Yeah,
there's no fat in them. It's interesting, it's like Michael Maj mentioned that the sirloin had less fat but more cholesterol, and shrimp has like no fat but plenty of cholesterol. It's interesting how that works. There's probably some biological reason why that's the case, right?
Right.
So,
how much shrimp? I'm just thinking of to do just shrimp days where you just eat shrimp to lean out, do a low fat day, and then high fat refeeds. Because everyone goes to chicken breast, and it's like, I mean, shrimp certainly is more expensive than chicken breast, but you get to eat shrimp. But shrimp's not, I mean, you have to eat a lot of them, but I mean, even like a pound of shrimp is like $18. No, it's way less than that.
Well, that's like half that. It's like probably $8 to $10 a pound for the frozen shrimp.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you eat a pound of shrimp a day, it's $8 a day, and just increase fat in the other days. It wouldn't be too easy. It wouldn't be too hard to slim down. I don't know. Just spitballing here.
The shrimp. So it just come out with the new shrimp diet.
Yeah, the lean out shrimp diet.
I don't think anybody's done
high protein, no fat. Essentially.
The super high protein, high cholesterol, no fat diet.
No fat diet. And super cheap. I mean, super easy because you could just buy cooked shrimp. And just go to town on it.
Yeah, I dumped the bag in a strainer, try and get all the ice off, because they're frozen. I pack them in glass dishes, and away I go.
Right. I mean, for you though, you might have to eat like 3 pounds of shrimp to even feel. Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking shrimp only.
Yes.
Holy crap. Yeah, so we look it up. How many calories in it?
At least to get your normal grams of protein that you would normally get in a day. Obviously, you have to negate the fat.
Shrimp dietary number. What am I looking for? Nutritional facts. 100 grams of shrimp 100 grams of shrimp actually has 1/3 of a gram of fat in it. So
there you go.
It's 24 grams of protein. So let's just say I was trying to get to 300. It's kind of my my bottom target of my range. So 300 divided by 24 is pretty easy math. It's 1,250 grams. So that's not, yeah, 1,250 grams because a kilo is 1,000 grams, right?
Right.
So that's roughly 3 pounds.
Yeah, about 3 pounds. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. That makes
3
sense.
pounds ish. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. I wonder. So 1,250 divided by, was it times that's not that many calories either.
Right.
I think I'd be hungry.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the point. Like, it should really lean you out and be easier than chicken breast. More expensive than chicken breast, but easier.
Hmm.
Eureka?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, geez, you gotta eat like a lot of damn shrimp to fill up, though.
Right. Yeah.
Huh. What if? Well, it's like anything. Who knows how much of that would sit well with a person? Like I didn't know how. I mean, chugging. I mean, you've regularly had like 3 to 6 eggs raw, right?
Yeah.
And I've tried it a few times and didn't notice anything. I can't remember. I probably 3 to 6 is what I tried too, just based on your recommendation. So I didn't notice anything, but I didn't know what would happen if I was drinking 30 eggs, right?
Right.
And it was just harder to drink them than I thought. And of course, the thing is with it, it's bland, right? It's just
Right.
almost flavorless, a little teeny tiny bit of flavor. So I don't know what to do with that. Well, what even would go with egg? Bacon, maybe I just need grind some bacon in there. Bacon and egg slurry.
Put a squirt of ketchup. Right.
I was trying to make it better.
Get a
I'm
little
not,
color in there too.
I'm not like a. I know. Do you confess to putting ketchup on steak
Oh yeah, as a child.
as a child? Okay,
As a
it's
child.
forgivable. Do you
Yeah.
remember when that British newscaster was asking Sean about the carnivore diet, and she asked him if he put anything on it, and she's like, "Not even tomato sauce or something like that. You don't put ketchup on it." And I was like, "Oh my god, I hope he doesn't strangle her." I mean, that's so un-American.
Right.
It's like when Joe called chili a casserole. You might technically be right, but it was offensive. Joe will never watch this, will he?
Maybe, maybe not.
Not till we
Let's
tell
see.
him we were talking
Yeah.
smack about him.
Casserole.
Yeah,
Chili casserole.
maybe people out there have an idea. How do you drink 30 raw eggs in a day? And how about 4 pounds of shrimp?
Sprinkle a bit of salt in them.
Yeah, it's a little bit of salt might work, right?
Yeah.
Why not? A little salt for flavor.
Yeah.
Need the perfect salt to raw egg ratio.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I did try them with I had collagen powder. I have some. Well, I tried that one whey isolate. I didn't realize it was freaking Fruity Pebbles flavored. Oh my god, it was disgusting because it was like the color was the first thing, and it had color speckles in it that all melted together and became gray. Then it looked like it was spoiled or something. It was disgusting.
Gruel or cream of wheat.
Yeah, like gray cream of wheat. It's nasty. And then I tried it with the collagen, and the collagen was all right. But Collagen doesn't exactly have a lot of flavor.
Right. Unless
It
you get like
has
a chocolate collagen or something.
right. So I tried the chocolate collagen. That was good. It was kind of like a milkshake or something. So
Protein shake.
yeah. So, but I was trying to just do the pure egg for the experiment, and then
Right.
you get too far afield pretty quick. But whatever. Maybe I just shouldn't fight it.
Mm.
Maybe I
You
just
do
try
a saladino, put in a drop of honey,
just a drop.
just a drop. Then the next thing you know, you're having 400 grams a day.
I don't even have any honey.
Hey, I know a good supplier.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Maybe he'll send me a pallet.
Palette. Oh man.
Pallet of honey.
There
I can try the Saladino protocol.
you go.
Fruit and honey.
Fruit and honey.
Just start spreading it on my toast. Blending fruit and honey with my raw eggs. So, what do you got going on? You got any special plans for eating this week? How many eggs you can eat this week?
Probably dozen and a half, I'd say on average. I don't know. I just had 6, so I'm already halfway there, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, Christina. A dozen eggs a day.
There you go.
I mean, my go-to breakfast is typically 3 eggs, about a pound of ground beef, and 1 hot dog. The hot dog just adds a little extra something. I don't know. Feels a little like missing something without the hot dog now. And some shredded cheese on top.
Yeah, I like to have a hot dog once in a while. In fact, I found a package in the freezer I just put in the fridge, but I haven't had any yet. It's nice to have a hot dog here and there.
Oh yeah, I like hot dogs.
So why not?
Try a yolk only scramble.
Yeah, I could try that. And maybe not just one. Doesn't seem like that was worth the effort to scramble one yolk. That's just a tease. That just get the spatula dirty.
It's so funny that at like typical restaurants, the go-to is, or the classic breakfast, right, is 2 eggs, 2 slices of bacon, right?
Hmm.
And you're like, who is now as a carnivore? You're like, who is that for? I need like
That's for the people that had waffles and toast with it, hash browns, right?
right,
Carb loaded, and then they had a little bit of protein.
right, and a little bit of fat,
All right.
right. As you throw margarine and high fructose jelly on your toast.
Right.
Oh, my breakfast isn't sweet enough. I need some. I need to sweeten up this toast too. Just the thought behind it all just seems so maddening. You know, I used to have French toast with margarine and jelly toast. You know,
Hmm.
yeah,
Syrup. Why not? Powdered sugar.
syrup, powdered sugar. Mm-hmm.
I don't think the French really eat that.
I don't think so either. Or at least they probably used real butter. At least.
Right. Maybe they only used it when they didn't have enough other stuff to eat, so they had to eat some stale bread. So they're like, well, let's soak it in some eggs, put some butter on it.
A little bit of cinnamon,
A little bit of
sugar.
cinnamon. All right.
Oh, cinnamon. Throw some cinnamon in.
I'm not a big cinnamon guy.
Mm.
If I could make it pretzel flavored, I might go for that.
No, that's quite the interesting mix. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the salt and cinnamon.
I don't think it's possible.
Well, without actually baking it or turning it into a pretzel. How about you just do a bunch of quiches?
Yeah, that's not a bad way to go. Just bake it all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad way to go. Throw some like big old 9x13s in the oven or something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's doable. I was
And
just
then you can add the bacon bits, maybe a little bit of crumble up some sausage and
still not
bacon.
drinking it though. So
Well, I mean, the whole point is to get 30 eggs a day. I don't think with the thing, they didn't always only eat raw.
yeah,
They
that's
had some
probably
cooked
true.
eggs too. They just said they would get them down any way that they could, and it was just easiest to get the raw eggs down
Right.
because they're burn victims, and so they don't really want to move around a whole lot to eat.
Yeah, well, I think most of those people were just fed with a tube, didn't it say?
Also true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose it doesn't matter if you cook it into a quiche, and that would be a nice way to just bake it in a pan. You could bake at least 2 pans at a time. That would that saves time, right?
Right.
As opposed
Right.
to trying to cook it all in a pan.
I just don't know how many eggs go into a large quiche. How many you could throw in there?
Just depends on the size of the pan, right? So
Right.
fair enough.
Throw the eggs in the dehydrator. Egg powder.
No, they just slide right through the rack. That's just powdered egg. Just buy powdered egg. It's disgusting. I tried the powdered egg protein one time. It was hideous. It stank so bad. Tasted awful. It didn't even taste or smell like eggs anymore. It was so gross.
Powdered egg, powdered cinnamon, and powdered milk.
I could see some. Try some regular powdered egg. Maybe just mix it with water and cook it. I
Or
haven't
hot
tried that.
sauce. Hot sauce in the raw egg.
Maybe.
I still think the quiche might be the best idea. My problem with it is that when I have cooked eggs, I like them hot, like hot, fresh. I feel like cold cooked eggs is just gross to me.
I prefer them hot, I guess, but I've eaten a lot of it cold. I eat a lot of my meals cold just because I'm not home. So I'm used to cold chili, cold steak, cold eggs. So
Ooh, we need to make a list of like foods
cold shrimp.
of foods that taste better the day later, like cold in the fridge or whatever.
Like the pizza you found under the couch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Kind of theory. Yeah.
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 It's kind of perfect. Yeah.
Kind of perfect. Yeah.
All right. Well, people out there, let us know what you know about antibiotics and meat. Favorite way to eat eggs.
Mm-hmm.
How was your
Chinese New Year?
Lunar New Year? And we're coming down to the end of was it
World Carnivore
Month?
Right.
Yeah. So let us know what that is, and I guess I think we're out of things to say about antibiotics, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
So we can wrap her up. Thanks for coming, everybody. It was great seeing everyone. It was great hearing your comments. So until next time,
Eat some meat.
feel better.
And whatever you do, don't fall down the
French
antibiotic
toast
hole. Hole, hole, hole.
hole.